Friday, 2nd of May, 2025 at 8:12 p.m. here in Snohomish, Washington, United States of America. Welcome once again to our cosmic journey. It is your Dev and Design podcast featuring two springtime boys with lovely springtime nails, making the world's best astrology software. I am Springtime Boy Jake. He is Springtime Boy Trey. Hello, Trey.
Hello, Jay.
I don't have nails done. You got your nails done.
No, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the magnet? What do we have here? What's it called?
I don't know what it's called, but it's if they put nail polish on, then they use a magnet to like give it this kind of cool. Well, I'm flipping off the.
Yeah, if you could not flip off the viewer.
Yeah. I don't know if it's gonna like really work. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it.
You can see it.
The sheen there. Yeah, cool stuff.
Love the sheen. I didn't get my nails done because I decided to work and clean the kitchen. But You know what? There's no judgment.
You know what?
There's really no judgment.
I feel like I just got red
at all. You know what? Good for you for picking that up. I appreciate that. Today's episode is called Having a Moment. You'll notice that there is lava. There's a lot of lava in this one because we did something that we said we weren't going to do, which was rethink the model. The last time we said we're never going to rethink the model was in that episode up there. Go take a look at it. Or not. That's fine.
But we only rethought it a little bit.
We only rethought it a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't change everything, just like a little tiny bit.
We assume it's for the better.
We'll
find out. You let us know in the comments below. Is the model changed for the better? We love your comments, all of them. So we've got Trey's check-in question. We've got some zhuzhing of buttons. We've got lots of input stuff to look at if we want to. The placement has been composed. No, that's been composed, and a movement to moments, and then a big thank you, of course, to all of our lovely viewers at the end. But before we get to all of that, of course, we start with the check-in question. Mr. Henry, take it away.
What's your favorite Phat?
There was a gentleman at a company that I worked with named Nate Phat, and he was probably my favorite Phat.
Oh.
He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
But if you were talking about the fats that you ingest instead, I would have to say my favorite fat would be bacon fat because it's salty and delicious, or just pork fat, I guess, in general. You can buy pork fat on its own, and I have resisted buying this for trade. Mr. Henry might be doing some keto stuff.
Thus the question.
I don't know if you sense that from his question, but he's definitely not going to ask me what his favorite carb is, because what's a carb, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking, what carb do you miss the most?
Oh no,
doing like a low carb diet, but I'm like, that's not very hopeful.
Let's not think about loss.
Yeah, yeah. Let's think about what we've gained. Delicious fats.
What have we gained? Delicious fat. I'm not doing keto, so I don't know. I don't know if I've gained anything in this.
Yeah, but you're doing kind of low carb though. I mean, you're not.
I mean, just by circumstance, because I'm cooking you food.
No.
Otherwise, I would be probably.
Well, you know what? Thank you for your accommodations.
A normal amount of carb. It's like that thing, like there's a joke in Family Guy that Peter Griffin says, like, oh, I leave all the washing and ironing and cleaning to you because I know how much you love it. It's very much how Trey is. Like, oh yeah, no, you get to partake in this too. Like, no, I'm doing it for you. What about you? What's your favorite fat, Mr. Henry?
Oh yeah. Well, bacon fat for sure. And I think, there is a difference between bacon fat and pork fat because bacon fat is smoked, right? And just pork fat is just pork fat.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, because bacon's smoked.
Hey, let us know in the comments below.
Is bacon smoked?
Is bacon fat smoked? Is that what makes bacon bacon?
It's like salted and smoked. Yeah, yes.
Sure.
We'll go with that. Anyway, bacon grease, 100% agree with you. Delicious. But I think my new favorite is ghee, like clarified butter.
Clarified butter.
Yeah. And Doc, our dog, loves it as well. And because it's like the most intense butter flavor. It's like, if you really like that flavor of butter, it's like somehow it's even more buttery than regular butter. It's delicious.
I was always wondering why ghee wasn't more popular. Is it because it's expensive? Like why isn't ghee?
It's not expensive at Costco, that's for sure.
Well, for sure. I just don't understand. Is it just something we're not used to? Is this like kombucha or bidets that we just haven't really as a society embraced it?
Or metric.
Kombucha, bidets, and metric. If I had to say the three values of me and Trey, there they are. Good check-in question. I think we ended at a high note, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Mr. Henry, do you want to talk a little bit about what we tried to accomplish this cycle, and then maybe I'll start showing off some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there is so much stuff. I was telling Jake before we started recording that there is so much stuff that we're gonna have to like go through and inventory everything, because the velocity is very high, folks. We are smashing it, as it were.
We are smashing it. So this is not smashing it. This is what's called the casting dialogue right now. And you might have remembered this before. I won't show it before, but like what every moment in astrology needs in order to cast that moment into astrological understanding is a date and a time, probably with some kind of time zone moniker that goes with it, and optionally but very helpfully a location in order to get angles and houses, and then you get this big three. This is not what it's going to be composed like, but this is in progress, and you can tell it's like it's kind of working, like there's here, I'll show off some stuff that we did here. So what you can see here is the location picker, and the location picker allows you to type things in. And we may have shown this off actually.
Yeah, I think we showed off location picker, but look how it got some zhuzhing though.
It still looks zhuzhed. You'll see the zhuzhing is now also here on the selector, which is using the system selector, but uses the same kind of styling as the location picker, even though they're different components. And then we've got the date picker, which I'm very excited about. Trey was very up about the idea that you had to be able to type in the date. This can only accept dates in this format, like this ISO kind of standardized format. But if I do like the 1st of April 2025, you'll see I've broken the component. I don't know how I did that here. Let me see if I can find it over here. Just janky right now. 0505. And then if I do this, you can see, but you can't. Oh no, it's not selected. I broke the whole thing. There it is. Okay. It is selected.
Interesting.
No, something happened. I screwed something up.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then
we'll fix it.
This is the systems date picker right now. You can see it's 8:19 p.m. Excuse me, time picker.
Yeah.
You can see it's 8:19 p.m. Very close to what our start time was. And going back then to the casting dialogue. So we have the date time here. We have the selector for the time zone. And that gives you the big three. And then there's this cast button. You'll notice that there's a little bit of button zhuzhing that is happening here. So we have buttons in lots of different sizes still, and we have buttons in lots of different colors still. But the thing that I had said last week that I was not happy about was that the buttons were very crunchy. What does it mean to be crunchy? Just, I guess, icky? Like, what? How else would you define crunchy? You're just like, I don't know. It's got too much of a bite to it.
I think
they're not cooked enough. I think that's what it comes down to. They're still a little crunchy. I've always used that term, and I never really knew what it meant.
Yeah, I actually only know, like, I've only heard this from you.
Okay, so it's a me thing.
Yeah, it's a you thing. Okay, but I love it. I think it's great.
TM.
Somehow it really works.
So does it still look crunchy? You be the judge. I don't think it does. I think it actually looks much better. Yeah, if you wanted to see a version of it, take a look up there for last week's. I think they look pretty good. So they kind of move up a little bit. And what it does is the idea here is that when you hover over the button, if you're on desktop, it kind of fills in a little bit of the detail of the gradient that's on the inside and spills the gradient outward. So it's like split. And it looks in single in page, you can kind of see that a little bit more acutely. So bleh. Go to gold. Bleh. Gold's hard to see.
Like the sound effects.
Bleh. And good old gray. You'll also remember that, like,
show simple.
This button used to turn like super deep red and then would go white with the text. It still happens in simple. So in simple light, it still goes that kind of deep red with the white. But now it just looks. So if you switch between the two. There's the simple one. There's the stellar one. I can't switch while I'm highlighted or hovered, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, just a level up on the buttons.
They look
a little
a
nicer.
little up leveling. Did I
Yeah.
miss anything that look through your list? I did so much work this cycle.
I closed.
I was cleaning so much.
Do you still have it open?
I was maybe here. This is gonna get a little bit different zhuzhing right now. That's kind of what I was working on right before this. But the idea here is that you can type something in. Stuff can go here. I was just doing the focus states. And then if it is required, we can turn that on and off. It can be disabled. It looks great. If it's invalid, fantastic. I love the way the stuff looks. I love stuff that looks very usable and very, it's very obvious that something's happening and it looks pretty.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, it's really hard to do. And I think, look, when you look at applications like Notion to some extent, or just like Linear, things like that, where it's just like all of that stuff comes together really beautifully.
Yeah.
It makes for really nice.
It makes it really good. And we will be making that in your astrology software. It's just we're not there yet. We'll be there.
But we're getting closer,
soon enough.
Moment by moment.
How close are we when it comes to what used to be called point placement is now called placement, Mr. Henry? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're 95.
95.
95. Yeah, we would be 100%, except for Triplicity Lords was a little bit trickier.
Yeah, it always is.
Yeah. But anyway, let's see. So I'll go over here to placement details.
You might notice a new browser for Mr. Henry. He stopped using Safari for a little bit and started using Zen, the Zen browser, because he loves the Gecko engine. So good for him for moving back to a modern browser.
The Gecko engine, I'm like, whatever, it's fine. It's really actually developer tools. So the Firefox dev tools they're just better.
Okay.
I think they're the best in the
anything to get you away
this way.
Anything to get you away from Safari. Thankful.
Well, I was using Edge for a while, which is basically Chrome.
I mean, that's better.
Anyway, so now we have point placement, and the cool thing is this is actually showing for right now. So it's not incrementing time in real time, but it is like, as soon as you render it, it's basically picking the current time. This is just in Storybook, of course. And so we can see the sun here. The sun's not supposed to have the speed graph. I just realized that a moment ago. But all the rest of this is true. 12 degrees Taurus, it's in the 7th house. All this stuff is working. So we can, just for the current moment, we can flip through a few points here. So you can see the moon is slowing down. She's in her domicile in Cancer, and she's also the Deacon Lord at the moment. And then we can switch over to Mercury, and Mercury's a little bit over his average speed and speeding up in the current Bound Lord. And so, so on and so forth. Venus in her detriment, of course, in Aries. And so this is great, because this is now a lot of the work required to get all of this, just to get this house, basically forced us to have to implement a whole bunch of stuff that was kind of like, we were just kind of waiting on basically to move over to basically migrate over from the old cosmic. So all that stuff got migrated over, and that actually is what resulted in an interesting conversation that Jake and I had about questioning the model.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it away on that one?
I think so. So I'll do this by showing you what's called the ring card, but we will probably, we've already renamed it at the moment.
Yeah, I renamed all of it.
Trey's on it. So what you can see over here, you can see over here. The problem is that I switch sides sometimes. So when I'm over here, what you can see over here is what's called what used to be called the ring card, which we're now calling the moment card. And the way in which we think about designing things such as lists, cards, and details is it's a composition of the attributes that make it. Okay? Go with me on this journey for a second. So when you look at this thing let's just talk about it as a ring card for a second. When you look at this thing, you're like, there's some kind of ring. We'll just use the word ring for a second. There's some kind of ring up here. And the rest of this is the date of an event, the time of an event, the place of the event. And the question you should be asking yourself is, when you have the date, the time, the event, like you basically look at this thing and you're like, the ring card is essentially the event card. It's the same thing for all intents and purposes. And you might be saying, well, what if you have like a calculated point, or sorry, a calculated ring? So something that is a relationship or a synastry, like a midpoints ring, where you say, I have this person, person A, and person B, and I'm going to take their midpoints and do some relationship astrology on it. Well, you don't get much different than what we already have today. So even if you've got two events that are combining into this event midpoints, like this middle one here, what you can see is that the card essentially is the events. Like they always seem to be kind of the same thing. And so the question that you have to ask yourself as a designer, and I should have asked myself a long time ago, is why, if the ring and the event are so close together that they are essentially inextricable from one another, that the ring is the ring the event, and essentially that's what Trey was asking me during a session where we said we were never going to change the model again, but I've got a model change. So do you want to take it over from there and kind of like how you think about it?
Yeah, well, we had originally designed, or we were originally thinking about ring and event as separate things, because exactly like you said, with calculated rings, you would have multiple events that feed the calculation of that ring. However, the interesting thing about separating event and ring is that ring is a representation in a visualization. So like a ring is like a ring on a chart.
Yes.
Whereas the data itself can be represented in many ways. Like the placements in a ring could just be listed on a page, for example. And so the idea of a ring as being this concretized thing just didn't make sense for how we're working on the product now. And so we basically took Jake, just like, this is why Jake is an amazing designer, is because he just like popped up we just dropped into a whimsical board, and then just did basically took all of our components and compared them against each other, and then tried to figure out like, okay, here, how does every single thing relate to every other thing of kind of like our top level things, which you can see here.
Yeah.
And then we were able to kind of like take, okay, now that we have like ring and event, and we kind of flush that out, are these actually the same thing? And we could just go through each box and like, is it the same? Is it the same? Is it the same? And then it was. And so now it's great because we have this thing called moment, which is what we used to call ring and event combined together.
And it makes a whole lot more sense now when you start talking about the here and now. That's a moment in time. And like all of a sudden, words that seemed very tortured when we use the word event or use the word ring now seem to be harmonized. So that's a good sign that you've hit on something that's pretty good. Now, the next question is, if the ring is not an object in itself, but rather a representation of an object, what about this guy? Chart. And the idea that we would move people away from chart in astrology software is probably a little too far to go right now. So we're going to keep chart for now, but note that like a chart is just a representation of moments together, and it is one representation of that. So what it might be called or how we might be presenting things in the UI later, not today, certainly not when we were hitting our first milestone in a couple of weeks, it might be a little bit different. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, and we will always have charts, because a chart is always the name of the like round thing or the square thing that you use to represent most astrological data. But when we start adding in a bunch of other things like zodiacal releasing and all that kind of stuff, like then do you call that a chart?
What do you call a chart for someone that's low vision?
Like, yeah, exactly. Like what do you? Yeah, is a list of placements a chart?
Yeah, a list of placements that can be read by a screen reader. Is that a chart? It's that chart
Maybe.
data, because we've been saying chart data for a long time, and that also feels tortured. And that's why we were using the term chart data for so long as opposed to chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you start really thinking through this stuff, it's interesting, because I think somewhere along the way in astrology, we started thinking that the chart was the thing, and it's actually not. It's the data that's the thing. That's why ephemerides were so important for so long. So, and ephemeride's just the data.
It's just the data. All we are are good stewards of data with beautiful visualizations.
Yep.
That's all we can be. What should the good viewer do with their time this weekend, Mr. Henry?
They should enjoy Friends.
I would say that
enjoy
they
Friends.
should sell something instead. I would like that instead.
You should sell something. You should go on Craigslist, find something, and sell it.
Does this need to be sold? Maybe.
Maybe. That's a SodaStream bottle. Those will probably go for
Yeah, you let us know in the comments how much you pay for the SodaStream bottle. Be well, take care, have yourself a lovely weekend, or whatever day you watch this video. We love you very much. We appreciate you coming back every single week, and we will see you again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.